So welcome back, everybody. I have the pleasure to welcoming all our three panelists today for this interactive session hosted by our gold sponsors, FreeWheel. So this panel will be on the growth opportunity of CTV and AVOD, a guide for buyers and sellers. So Yasmin, Bill, and Tano, welcome. And before we get into the discussion, I would like to share with you a small video by FreeWheel.
TV is more and more digital, and so is advertising. To understand the evolution of video use by connected viewers, FreeWheel conducted a survey of 4,452 people, representative of the 4 European countries: UK, France, Germany, and Italy. Some definitions. CTV, or connected TV, is a television set directly connected to the internet via a smart TV or external devices, game consoles, streaming box or stick, TV set-top box. OTT, over the top, also known as streaming, refers to online video content services accessible directly by the viewer without going through a set-top box. There are 3 types of video platforms. SVOD, S for subscription. These are video-on-demand platforms accessible through a subscription. AVOD, A for advertising. These are free video-on-demand platforms with advertising. BVOD, B for broadcaster. These are the video from the television channels accessed on demand. Let's turn to the results of our FreeWheel study. 70% of EU4 households have connected their TV to the internet. 9 out of 10 viewers frequently use these video platforms. And they watch on average 2.5 different ones in addition to SVOD. When it comes to the screen for watching video content, EU4 viewers have a clear preference for their connected TV. And this is even more true for the over 35s. The main reason they prefer to watch videos on their connected TV is that they can enjoy a better user experience. And also watch videos with others, because TV is truly a social medium. What do the EU4 viewers watch on their connected TV? Mostly subscription-based SVOD platforms, but also broadcasters, BVOD platforms, and the free ad-supported VOD platforms. While still fairly recent, AVOD platforms already account for 34% of total time spent streaming video in the US. And in Europe, on average, 16% of Europeans in the 4 countries surveyed by FreeWheel use these platforms. The UK is first with 20%, followed by Germany with 17%, Italy, and France. The good news is that EU4 viewers are very keen in these new free offerings. 2/3 of them say they are ready to use them. And those who connect their TV via external devices are already largely consuming ad-supported services. Advertising is entrenched in the TV experience. 64% of EU4 viewers are willing to see ads in exchange for free video content. Moreover, 54% of them find the ads less intrusive on the TV screen than on other screens. In terms of performance, the TV screen offers the best advertising engagement of all media. In our FreeWheel study, the 15 to 24-year-olds are the ones who stand out the most as regards to usage compared to the EU4 average. Millennials use more VOD platforms, +1 on average. They prefer to be exposed to advertising tailored to their interests. They like to watch videos on their smartphone at any time, and when they watch TV, they're often multitasking on their smartphones. Want to know more about this study? Contact us at eumarketing@freewheel.com.
Thank you, Shana. Hi and welcome, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this great video as much as I did. There will be local versions, by the way, for the respective 4 countries available soon. And thank you all very much for joining us this morning. I'm Tano, heading up the demand sales team in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland for FreeWheel. And in our panel today, we will discuss the growth opportunity of CTV and AVOD. Let me quickly introduce you to our panelists. Yasmin Andrews, Product and Strategy Director at Matterkind UK. And we have Bill Condon, Senior Vice President, Advertiser Partnerships at XUMO, and also part of the Comcast family. According to our brand new research that we've just seen on the screen of people in the UK, France, Germany, Italy, have now connected their TV to the internet. It is yet more evidence that consumer appetite for video on demand will continue to grow. And without further ado, I want to kick off our little panel here. And first question actually goes to Yasmin. As an agency point of view, how do you see this evolving for buying? What new capabilities does it unlock for agencies as well for marketers?
Sure. So I think the way that CTV is evolving for our media buys, it's really becoming a much more considered part of the wider video campaigns that we run for our clients, but also it's becoming a much more considered part of those more traditional linear TV buys as well. So really considering how CTV can gain incremental reach on top of linear, or even vice versa maybe. And also understanding how we're activating CTV alongside our other online video tactics. So really using, I guess, programmatic tech to ensure that we're being as agile and efficient as possible. Definitely over the last 14 months, it's really demonstrated the need for programmatic technology and ensuring that we're responding to those changes in consumer behavior as quickly as possible. I think in terms of, the capabilities it unlocks for agencies and marketers, this is one of the capabilities, but we, as a part of it, we really need to ensure that we understand the breadth of what CTV actually means, what CTV inventory can be defined as. And I think, I think it was in your video, I've seen it in your research piece. It's the visualization of CTV being the environment that houses AVOD, BVOD, SVOD, not just sort of that long tail list of apps, which I've often seen in the past. So it's definitely around, for us to get better in the way we plan CTV, to improve our capabilities when it comes to CTV, we need to be educating ourselves as well on the breadth of CTV inventory, definitely.
Cool, thank you. And Bill, in terms of users figures, which evolution of usage do you see? Are there significant differences by country maybe?
Yeah, sure. So I think if we look at your video and how it kind of broke things down, XUMO is available throughout Europe. And I think it's important, as Yasmin kind of broke out, the SVOD and BVOD and AVOD, or everyone loves acronyms in this business, or FAST, free ad supported streaming TV services. So I'll just throw another one for your next video out there. XUMO users are coming and they're accessing our content exclusively through our partnerships with a lot of these smart TVs companies like an LG or a Samsung or a Panasonic. And they're turning to us, like your video said, they're using it to sort of supplement their SVOD services. So the cord cutting and cord shaving is definitely happening throughout Europe. They might have a Disney Plus or Netflix. So they're turning to XUMO as opposed to just adding on another service. They're utilizing us to sort of help supplement that with free ad supported streaming television. And then the trends, as you mentioned, it's interesting where we kind of align with how your video broke it down, but from our top markets, Spain, Germany, Italy, France, and then the UK, which is almost a little bit of an inverse in terms of our top markets, but we actually are seeing our fastest growth. We're seeing about 50 to 70% quarter over quarter growth in terms of user engagement. But our fastest growing region right now at about 80% is the UK.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, we've seen this over the last month, and this global pandemic was a little bit like an accelerator, right? Especially for this development, was quite interesting to learn. Now let's maybe get a little bit more into the key learnings from first campaigns, and this one again goes first to Yasmin. what is the buy side really looking for? Is there appetite and interest from brands, like examples of brands, industry sector for latest campaigns? How are they organized in agencies? Maybe that's also a question, like especially when it comes to old versus new TV world, like digital colleagues versus the old TV guys. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Sure, I can start off with sort of how we work as an agency. So obviously I'm part of Matterkind, and we are the addressable business unit within IPG, and we work with multiple different IPG media buying agencies, and those media buying agencies absolutely still have their AV experts in-house in their agencies, and we will work with those strategists or AV planners, and we'll work with them in terms of how we would activate and say optimize CTV campaigns, but working really closely with them sort of to understand the reasoning for CTV being on plans. So are we looking for some sort of incremental reach? Is actually CTV a better environment in terms of the target audience? So yeah, really working very closely with the AV planners and strategists. So yeah, it's not like their jobs have now become redundant because there's CTV inventory available programmatically. Absolutely not. I think in terms of you mentioned, are there some brands or industry examples? For us, actually, we work across a really sort of wide variety of clients across all industries, and all of them, I would say, have shown interest in CTV. And I think that's really because, there are very, very, very niche applications, but of course there are more of those, bigger broadcasters as well. There, I think there's inventory and content out there that most brands should be able to align with. It's another environment at the end of the day they should be using to try and target their audience. So yeah, there's definitely appetite from all of our clients, especially over the last year. As you mentioned, the user behavior has really accelerated, and I think now we've sort of seen similar with out of home as well. It's how can we use programmatic tech to be more agile, to be more flexible, and yeah, ensure that we're sort of reaching users where they actually are here and now, basically.
One topic that is, I think, almost crucial. Always crucial when it comes to programmatic and digital, and this one goes to you, Bill, is data. And what about the UX and the ad user experience and data capabilities? Could you maybe get a little bit into this field, because I think it's really interesting for both sell and buy side what is actually possible.
Yeah, no, happy. I think from I'll start with the ad experience or the user experience first. Is sort of Yasmin touched on this. The user base is switching screens. They're maybe turning away from traditional cable or broadcast television, and they're finding a home in AVOD or FAST. And I think the key driver is what we're cognizant of is all of our content is 100% free. We're supplementing that through advertising. And I think that balance of value exchange, free content with ads is extremely important. And we take that very seriously. So we're on average about 7 to 9 minutes of commercial time. We're not beholden to the traditional ad breaks that you're seeing on television. So we're roughly about half or 60% of what you're getting there. So the users are still coming, free service, they're happy with it because of the fact that they're getting ads, but not bombarded with ads. And then to your point about the data side of things, obviously working across the globe, we're seeing a big push with data management and folks kind of bringing their own data and being able to utilize that. Actually, I know we've got a very big partnership with Matterkind where they're finding, as Yasmin point, they're finding that right audience across screens and in that right country. And then also we're starting to see definitely an influx in clients kind of bringing your own data. There's a lot of data privacy concerns throughout the globe, but especially in Europe with GDPR and specific rules out there. So the ability to build up your own database and then bring that to the party to help sort of find that right audience with the right message at the right time. I think the idea of addressable television is a big push right now in traditional, but I think the key thing is we have that capability right now in OTT and CTV. It's the big screen, it's bringing your data, it's finding that. So from a data and targeting standpoint, obviously, first party data, targeted audience, finding that right demographic or psychographic, but also we can also offer by region. And I think the other case is, working with our 200 plus channel partners to allow clients to kind of come in and more of a traditional buy, less about specific audience and more about relevancy in genre or content.
True. I mean, there are some challenges, and you touched on also proprietary data. This is something that basically my team experienced over the last month a lot, that many buyers weren't really aware actually of this proprietary data, because most CTV apps basically require a login. So you can actually use this for targeting reasons. And this is actually a nice segue to the next section, because as I said, like we spent a lot of time actually training customers, clients, direct clients, and also agency teams in how to buy CTV. We even produced one pages for that. And Yasmin, this one goes again to you. Could you describe the technical challenges of CTV buying from your perspective, and on what points are you particularly attentive, like reach, audience, qualitative, or ad experience? So that would be nice if you could share some light on that from your agency perspective.
Sure. I think there are actually quite a few nuances to CTV buying that we've experienced on our side. It's a new format. It's not like for like buying an online video campaign. But I've picked out sort of two key, because I appreciate we're probably running a bit behind on time, two key pointers for anyone else thinking about buying CTV. I think the first thing is really considering the connected TV environment when you're looking at the creative. So if your client's creative, if your creative is fit for an online video world, it's probably got a call to action, maybe something like click through to a website or engage with the video in some way. Well, that might not necessarily be relevant for a connected TV environment. So I think although you'll be running connected TV often alongside online video tactics, on the buy side, you do need to consider the creative that's being used. You can't really be using the exact same creative. And then also, I think a slight nuance to connected TV buying is frequency capping as well. So from our side, obviously, we always like to understand how we can better manage our reach across campaigns. And I think there's where the device identifier isn't present, say within the bid request, then that can cause issues with frequency capping. So for anyone that's looking to run a connected TV campaign and is perhaps on the trading side and applying frequency capping, I would suggest also talking with either your SSP or your or the CTV media owner to sort of better understand how you can manage frequency more at a publisher level, I guess, so that you can overcome those frequency cap challenges that you get in the DSP.
That's a nice trick. And Bill, how do you see CTV buying evolving from the sell side perspective? Like, how ready are the publishers to embrace these new capabilities?
Yeah, no, I think they're very ready. I think CTV, I mentioned earlier, the growth, there's such a tremendous opportunity as folks shift over from different screens. And as we've continually kind of mentioned, it's the biggest screen in the house. It's, as Yasmin noted, it's an engaged audience. So they're there, and the ability to kind of bring data and higher ad rates and higher fills through that is extremely important. I think programmatic, we've seen a tremendous growth globally, and especially in Europe. Folks kind of coming in. The push for private marketplaces where you have a safe buying environment. You have this one-to-one relationship where you can safely bring your data and access that. I think that's going to continue to grow, and we've seen just tremendous quarter-over-quarter growth. And I think programmatic, especially data-driven buying, will continue to increase. I think it's a trend, and you're seeing across the ecosystem, not just in OTT and CTV, with cookies going away, clients and agencies really leaning into and heavily investing in data and leveraging their clients' audience to find that right person in the right time with the right message. I think that trend will continue. And the great thing is, even though this is it's a new and different environment, it's working off the same technology that we have traditionally in digital. It's a vast tag. Mm-hmm. You mentioned, you can kind of go in, use that same technology or SSP or DSP. And I agree with Yasmin, the idea of it's such a fragmented space, the universal reach and frequency is extremely important. So being able to kind of use a platform to sort of manage that, whether it's sequential messaging or not over hitting a user with that same ad, it's important. The technology's there. Agencies and advertisers are kind of leaning into it. And I think publishers are ready and they're open for business.
That's a good point. As we're sadly coming until to the end of our panel, the last question goes out to both of you, and we will start with Yasmin again. What are the opportunities and challenges, so to say, next steps for the European CTV market? And we have, I think, 4 minutes left, so we have to hurry a little bit.
I think the main challenge is pretty simply, but also I think pretty crucially, keeping everyone in the industry, whether that be within agencies or client side or sell side, really up to date or up to speed with the breadth of CTV inventory and capabilities, as well as ensuring basically the whole industry is completely aligned on the definition of CTV. And, I think it was in your video, it's the device that houses SVOD, AVOD and BVOD. It's not just sort of a list of long tail apps. And then the opportunities. So I guess speaking more to what we're doing at the moment is we're looking into those opportunities, and Bill sort of mentioned it earlier, is things around sequential messaging, but also what can we be doing in terms of sequential messaging, but maybe cross-channel, and then also bringing in CTV into our omni-channel optimizations as well. So having a look at how we can be optimizing CTV across the board alongside other channels. So yeah, that's my challenge. And
thank you.
I'll jump right in since we're short on time. Yeah. So I agree. I think, Yasmin, you nailed it in terms of education. It's such a fast growing, but it's a fragmented space. And I think people look at OTT or CTV and think of, oh, it's one device. It's so many different devices. You've got smart TVs, you've got connected devices like Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. You're starting to realize the larger cable companies, the Skies, the Rogers, they're going out and actually they're giving access to users through their traditional cable boxes that are IP enabled. So these are all specific devices that have multiple apps and services, and it's moving extremely fast. Mm-hmm. So the education where this is a premium environment, there's not just one platform or device to kind of rule them all. So you need to make sure that you're looking at OTT, CTV very holistically when you plan and buy, and realize, to Yasmin's point, that it's premium, it's an engaged audience, and it's growing. But I think the key thing is it's moving so quickly. So making sure that we continue to educate and evangelize the space. And I think the last challenge piece is data is becoming a bigger piece of things, and it's going to continue. I think the key thing is making sure that we are using data smartly and continue to use it in a privacy compliant way. So we're not upsetting customers, and more importantly, not upsetting larger regulatory bodies. So making sure we do things smart, and let's not kill the golden goose.
That's a good one. Thank you very much, Yasmin and Bill. I think we really covered some ground here in the last 25 or 30 minutes, starting with the definitions and discussion about key learnings from first campaigns, followed by how to buy actually CTV, and now closing with an outlook. By the way, if anyone still feels he or she didn't get enough, we have a virtual booth. So thank you very much again for tuning in, and meet us there. And goodbye from Hamburg.
Thank you.
Thanks.